Hello there, and welcome to Community Live. Here we talk with community experts about their life journeys and how they came into the community world. And today we have a conversation with Jenny Weigle, a wine expert, an active Peloton cycler, LA CMX Connect chapter host, chief community officer and strategic consultant and at Jenny.Community, and community strategy speaker. So, hello, Jenny.
Hi, Yuri. Wow, I've never had that introduction before. I like it.
Nice. And you will like the first question. And tell me, please, how frequently do you wear hot pink cat ears?
Cat ears? The hot pink cat ears have gone into the fall holiday box. So maybe I just pull them out in the fall when we're about to decorate the house and we're getting out things for fall and Halloween and so forth. Yeah. I think I kept them out a little longer after that season last year, but I do know right now they are in the fall/Halloween box in the garage. So they'll be making a reappearance soon.
Do you have a box for every season, or how many boxes do you have?
I think it's one box, maybe two boxes for the decorations that we put up around Halloween and the fall. For Christmas, I think we're up to 4 boxes and 2 storage drawer type things. So maybe you could say 6 total. Not counting the Christmas tree. I'm someone who's very into the holidays, and I like to decorate my surroundings to take advantage of that time of year, since that time of year only comes around once a year.
Do you buy every season something new, or you just reuse those decorations you have?
Reuse, and then my tactic there is that the day after Halloween, for example, I will run up to the local stores and see what they've just put on sale. And if there's anything that interests me, I will grab a few things and start adding to my collection, which is why I keep adding boxes every year.
Oh, that's an amazing tactic. That's exactly how I buy shoes, because when I buy shoes, winter shoes in spring, I can buy it twice a price. So yeah, it's
smart. Yes.
So let's start from the beginning. Tell me about your parents. Who are they?
My parents, Mark and Eileen Weigle, living down in Tampa, Florida, which is my hometown. And something unique about my parents, Yuri, is that they're each one of 6 kids. So I grew up with lots of aunts and uncles and lots of cousins. And something I love about my parents is that they were always hosting people, having people over. In our home as a child, there were constantly friends and family, and there were gatherings. We were the home that held celebrations for birthdays and graduations and anniversary parties and things. So I don't think it's any coincidence that, I grew up to be a major extrovert because I was constantly surrounded by friends and family in our home. And I really attribute that to my parents and how they always wanted to hold space and bring people together.
How many kids usually were in your house?
Besides me and my 2 siblings that lived there the whole time, there could be 5 or 6 total, having cousins over, having neighborhood friends over as well. Yeah, always lots of kids running around.
Have you ever crashed something together?
Crashed something? No, but I did once throw a big party and maybe didn't tell my parents all the people I invited, so they thought 10 people were coming over, but then about 35 did. So I crashed my parents' expectations, perhaps, when I was 13. Oops.
Was it the only expectation you crashed?
I don't know. You'd have to talk to Mark and Eileen Weigel about that one.
Yeah, and how does it feel to grow up with so many aunts and uncles?
It was the best feeling. It still is the best feeling, knowing that I come from this big family. And beyond just the aunts and uncles, my mother and father did a great job of staying in touch with their many, many cousins over the years. So I grew up knowing my second cousins and third cousins once removed, and all, a very extended part of the family. I realize what a blessing and a benefit that was now. And I also remember getting into adult life thinking everybody just knew their extended cousins, and that's not the case. So I can look back now and really appreciate the time my parents put into keeping those relationships up so that me and my siblings would get to know the cousins they grew up with, and then we could know their kids. And now, because of such a big family, I mean, I've got family all over the country and in some different parts of the world, and it's real neat. You're going to catch some kind of kin or blood of mine in many different cities, and that makes traveling fun, and it just makes staying in touch with family fun.
Do you always meet with all your family when you travel?
Not always able to make it work, but this is one of those areas where I'm grateful that social media was created because it has helped me stay in touch with family so much. I actually probably live the furthest away from most of my family, being over here in California on the West Coast, and the majority of my family still being either back in like the Chicago suburbs or down in Florida.
And what social media do you use the most to keep in touch?
With family, it's a mix of Facebook and Instagram. For my consulting practice, it's different stuff.
And what is for your consulting practice?
I mean, I'm on LinkedIn a lot during the day. Maybe more maybe I should be spending more time working on my business than being on LinkedIn. But LinkedIn has been a great resource for me building my business, for people finding out about me, for me connecting with new people, whether they're going to be clients or not. So spend most of my time on LinkedIn. I've also used Twitter much more than I ever have since I first created an account. And so I'm having fun with that as well. And I also use Instagram for work purposes, but I'd say for work purposes, I'm mostly on LinkedIn and Twitter.
How do you decide who you have to connect with?
People who make me curious, make me think differently about something, people who are accomplishing amazing things in community, and I want to know them, to be even this slightly within their energy. I mean, yeah, so I'm keeping an eye out for that. And sometimes I want to write about these people on my Substack. Sometimes I just want to say hello. Sometimes I just want to follow them on LinkedIn to see what they have to say. And they stand out usually because they have some kind of take or have accomplished something in community that I haven't seen done yet.
Okay, so tell me a little about your siblings.
My siblings, oh, they're going to have a riot. They didn't realize they were going to be on the community life. My younger sister, Amanda, is my best friend, and she lives in Park City, Utah with her husband and their little baby boy. And my sister is in the healthcare industry, and she is an occupational therapist, and she is also an amazing mom. And the last 9 months, it's been great to see her blossom into that role and do something which I can tell comes so naturally to her. So that's been great. And my brother Adam lives in Chattanooga, Tennessee with his wife and their 3 little girls. So I have 3 beautiful nieces. And yeah, and my brother works as a customer success director for a technology company. And for as spread out as we are, we do a really good job of staying in touch with each other. So it's funny. Physically, we are very far apart, but emotionally, we feel very close. At least I feel very close to them because we're always chatting on texts and things.
And what do you usually chat about?
Things going on with the many family members that we have.
Yeah.
We all went to the University of Florida, so we are Gator fans, and college football is coming up. So, when there's big changes happening, oh, we have a new head coach, or, oh, did you see we're going to play this team on this date? Where those kind of things are really what activates the family chats. And any given Saturday in the fall when college football is happening, the family chat is usually going off.
Crazy.
Yeah. Woohoo!
Do you like rumors?
The Fleetwood Mac album? Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about some kind of gossips, I would say.
Sometimes, I guess, sometimes I worry they can be dangerous. Do you have a rumor to share, Yuri?
I don't know. Maybe not. Let's find out later, because I like sharing rumors, but only let's say I never judge. So I just
Mhm.
curious about what is going on. So and I can say, hey, have you heard about something like that? And so on. So just to talk about it because I am really curious what people think about it all. And okay, but it's not about me, it's all about you. And on your LinkedIn, there is a text that at the age of 9, I created my first community and it was a club for the neighborhood kids. What inspired you to create that club?
The inner community builder in me already starting to come out. And we had a really fun group in the neighborhood I grew up in. And if anything, I wanted more time with the neighborhood kids. And this included my siblings too. We all were pretty close growing up. And I just thought maybe if we officially, called ourselves a club, I don't know, we would get together more often and we'd have this shared camaraderie of something like we're in this together. And which wouldn't have been any different than the times we already were hanging out together. But yeah, I don't know. There was really already something developing within me that it was important to say that we had this shared connection, that we were all part of this thing. And at 9 years old, I didn't really know what that was yet. And I look back now and it's so clear to me.
Was there any sign up system?
No, basically, I just said everybody in the neighborhood was in it. No sign up. No sign up. And, no one else called it the club except me, but it made me very happy. So that's all that mattered.
Like, welcome to the club. What are you talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking about? I thought we were just riding bikes or playing in the woods today. Yeah, we're doing that. Okay.
Did you have a house on the tree?
I wish that would have been really fun. No, we did have some like a wooded area behind our house that we played in, and we just climbed the trees. But we did not have a formal tree house. That would have been exciting.
Was it dangerous climbing the trees?
Oh yeah, I look back at that particular area right now, and it was a wooded area for a reason. There was just no development that was supposed to happen back there. People were not really supposed to be going in that area. Yeah, I would constantly come home with all kinds of bug bites and scratches on my legs from climbing trees, from scratching up against sharp leaves of some sort or thorns, and I remember my mom always being like, you're messing up your legs. One day when you start shaving your legs, you're going to be really upset you have all these marks on them. And at the time, I remember one time saying to her, I'm never going to shave my legs then.
Yeah, that's really fun. Did you
Childhood.
ever cry when you get scratched?
Yeah, I mean, there were some times I took some hits falling off bikes. I really liked creating ramps out of things you shouldn't be creating ramps out of, and just like whatever we could find around the neighborhood, like pieces of wood. And so these are not sturdy and these are not great. So I had some frequent bike crashes, and definitely, I never broke anything, but I took some tumbles.
Did you ever try to jump over some other kids?
No, we never tried to jump over other kids. We did try to jump over like a empty space to the other ramp, and that did not work.
Yeah, I guess that's where you maybe had the most of those scratches and so on.
Yeah.
So tell me more about your childhood. So what is the brightest moment you remember?
Oh my gosh, some of the brightest moments. So I really look back at my childhood and realize how much I loved performing. And there are two aspects of that for me as a kid. In my youth, I took 14 years of dance lessons, ballet, tap, modern, jazz. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it. And I also would sing with my dad. Now, my dad is still to this day an amateur musician, and he would get gigs around town. And if he could bring a kid along with him, I'd get up and sing with my dad. And that was something that still to this day means a lot to me. So I look back now and I kind of wish that an area of or a profession I would have gone into was trying to get on Broadway, with as much as I love singing and dancing to this day. Didn't take that path, became a community builder instead. But I still look back on that really fondly. I have the utmost respect and awe for anyone who does either of those as a profession. And I've even gotten back in touch with my singing roots over the last couple years. I'm not doing it right now, but for about 2 years, I was taking private lessons with a vocal coach, just to kind of learn what my voice is capable of doing when it comes to singing. And that was super fun, and maybe something I'll start up again.
But do you sing at least in the karaoke?
Oh, yes. Love me some karaoke. And I hope to do it when there's CMX Summit. Pablo loves some
Pablo,
karaoke too.
totally.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
hopefully we can find a karaoke bar up near where CMX Summit is going to be. Yeah, I have a couple of go-to songs for karaoke. And it really depends on how much liquid courage I have going on.
Get it. So tell me more about those songs and Liquid Courage.
All right. So my first go-to song when I really don't need like much liquid courage is Madonna, Like a Prayer. And I have sang that song. I had a little stint back in in 2014, no, not 2014, 2004, sorry, where I went to South Korea for a month and sang karaoke just about every night and sang Madonna Like a Prayer just about every night. Yeah, so I've sung that song at karaoke around the world. And then the song that is really challenging, so I probably need a little bit more liquid courage, is Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody. And it's my absolute favorite. And even if I'm not singing karaoke to it, if I'm in a bad mood and I just put that song on, I feel instantly better.
Is it a big liquid courage distance between those songs?
Not anymore, the older I get.
Tell me about your Broadway dreams.
Broadway dreams. I mean, I loved expressing myself in that capacity of being a performer. When it came to dance, I love just like the flow and motion of the body and what you can do. I love being in sync with music. Tap dance was so much fun. I still find myself just kind of tapping even in the kitchen, like moving my feet with old tap moves. And yeah, and then Broadway to me is just the epitome of that, you know, and encompassing some sort of character and bringing that to life through performance, through song and dance. And I get extremely emotional at Broadway shows. Like even when the curtain is going up and starting, I'm just like, it's beginning. I mean, it hasn't even started yet. It's just, that's how much the experience like resonates with me and has meaning in my life to see a production like that and to see everybody who brings it to life. And yeah, there's some part of me that like, I wish I would have tried to do that as well. But I've also thought that as life goes on, I'd be interested maybe in getting into like local plays or local theater groups or something to still, I don't know, flex that skill in some way.
And have you already tried? Maybe you have some like listenings or how it named?
Demos or so. I haven't taken those steps exactly, but the closest I did take was working with the vocal coach I worked with for 2 years to, again, see what my voice could do. And we took some videos and some audio recordings so that I can look back and see, you know, where it was, and hopefully I'll progress from there. And we set a goal. Now, this was back in early 2020. And when 2020 started that year, I said to her, I'm like, you know, we've been working together for a while now. And I really feel like I need to set some kind of goal around this. So now that I know more of my voice and what I can do with it. She said, how about an open mic night? And it made me nervous. But I said, yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe I should, you know, work up to doing an open mic night. The thing is, I'd never been to an open mic night. I knew what they were. So first I said, well, I just want to go to one and check it out and see what they're like. And maybe then the next week I will sign up. So the first weekend of March, I found a local open mic. It was an afternoon. It was open mic afternoon. And I went and I watched the process and I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, yeah, I could definitely do that. And then not much longer, the world shut down because this was March 2020. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to be performing at any open mic nights soon. And you know what? I haven't. So that is a goal that I still need to work towards. It's been unattained at this point.
But the world is open right now. So what do you have to do to
I
attend the
know.
open mic?
I know. It's you're calling me out, Yuri. Calling me out here. And
Uh,
I'm not sure. I need to just make it more of a priority is what I need to do.
and tell me a little more about open mics. So what people do there?
Yeah, so they're usually held at a restaurant or a bar, and different kinds of performers, it could be singers, it could be musicians, will come and you sign up on a list, and then there's a host for the evening, usually somebody who works at or for the venue. And they will start reading down the list of who showed up and inviting those people to come up, and either if it's a big crowd, they'll ask everyone to do like one song each. If there's not that many people there, they might let the performer do a couple songs. And yeah, so you've kind of got to be ready to, to do one or a few, and that's at least what I observed from
So it's
open
kind of
mics.
it's kind of talent show, because I saw that it's like kind of stand up when you say some jokes and so on. So
Yeah, and then there's also open mic nights for comedians too, which that takes a similar process.
okay, so I found that you wrote that reporting class with Mike Foley was incredibly challenging in College of Journalism and Communications. So tell me more about this class.
Yes, at the University of Florida, I was a public relations major. And because I thought at the time I wanted to get into entertainment PR, I wanted to be the PR person behind music acts. And so that's what I had in my mind as I was going through college. I even interned for a local band in my college town. But there's a class that you had to take as a public relations major, and it was like reporting 101. Like, so you were also taking it with a lot of people who had reporting as a major or journalism as their primary study. And that class refined my writing skills and really made me the writer that I am today. Now, I'm not always using the correct punctuation and so forth, but it taught me so much about writing context, but it also taught me about when you're conducting interviews and listening to someone who you want to feature in an article you're writing. I still use those principles today when I'm writing things for my Substack and I'm asking if someone wants to be part of it. And I think back to what I learned in the reporting class. That class was very tough though, because you would submit an article, and if you had one spelling or punctuation or grammar error, you could get 50% off your paper, or 50 points off, and you have two, and you might two errors, and you failed. Like, so that was it was really tough. But again, what I took away from it has helped me my entire life, has helped me even into a career that I don't know if if anyone ever associated reporting skills being helpful in this career path, but it absolutely has helped me. And shout out to Professor Mike Foley, who is still an adjunct professor at the University of Florida, because he just imparted a wealth of knowledge and criticism on our class, rightfully so.
Share, please, one tip that you still use today.
Oh my gosh, the aspect of proofreading and proofreading. I probably proofread things more than any normal person, but I also really love the process of proofreading. Like, I tell my friends when they create a slide deck or something, here, let me look at it, let me review it, and because I want to capture all the, the grammar and the spelling things. And I don't know, there's something very calming to me about proofreading something and finding the little fixes and stuff. I know that's weird, right? It's weird, but you know what? It's me.
It's exactly who you are. So what do you think about Grammarly?
I've not used it, but I hear good things. And it seems like everyone could use something like Grammarly probably in their personal and professional lives.
I definitely use, since I'm not native, so it helps me a lot. At least I sound like a native when I use Grammarly. But anyway, and do you remember the day or the moment, I don't know, maybe the place, when you told yourself, I'm gonna be a community professional?
Oh my gosh, I think I do. Yeah, so I was working at Career Builder as their very first social media and community manager. And the social media side of things was interesting, but also just too all over the place for me. And I remember thinking, I would really love to take a part of this job and kind of focus on it more. And that was the community side. That was those individual connections being made when people were talking to each other, helping to foster people talking to each other more. And I do remember at that point thinking that I wanted to step away from the social media aspect of community and more into the peer-to-peer aspect of community. And from there, my career went in kind of a couple of different places first before I was able to focus on that. Then I got a job at Lithium Technologies, which is now Koros. And that role was solely focused on what people might call owned community, peer-to-peer community, brand communities. And there I was able to hone my skills in that particular area. But man, did it help having background on social media communities and how they thrive. Yeah, so I'm really grateful. Lithium allowed me to dive in deeper to those skills.
What do you prefer, talking with people or watch people talking?
Depends on the day.
Like on Sundays, talking with people, and other than, or how it works?
You know, it does depend on the day. So the beginning of the week, I'm probably a little bit more curious than the end of the week when, things are piling up. So the beginning of the week, I tend to find myself taking in more podcasts, more videos, things I have saved to like watch later, because I guess I'm just at a point, from being rested from the weekend, I'm like ready to digest all of this new information and process it and learn from it. And towards the end of the week, as my tasks are building up and I got to finish stuff up before the weekend, I'm probably more talking with people than listening and taking it in.
Okay, so if you want Jenny to answer you, please take her in the end of the week. Got it.
If you want me to watch something, send it to me on a Monday or a Tuesday.
Yeah, in a newsletter you never signed up for. Yeah, how do you spend your mornings?
That also depends, because if it's a morning where my stepdaughter is here, it's a very different morning than usual. But this morning she's not here, and so this was actually what my ideal morning would be on the days that we don't have her. I got up and did 30 minutes on the Peloton, and then had some time with my partner before we started our days, sipping coffee and just getting ready for the day, and working my way towards my desk. And I know once I'm at my desk, I'm going to be there for a while. And then I already held a CMX webinar today with Chris Catania. So it's already been a pretty busy day. But yeah, those mornings where I can get a workout in and I can have a little bit of time with my partner and we can just touch base before the day starts. That's a pretty special morning. I try to fit in a 10-minute meditation in the mornings. Doesn't always happen, but I try.
How do you feel about meditation?
Oh, meditation is everything. For me, has become that check-in with myself when I have kind of started thinking outside of myself. And it grounds me, it brings me back to my core, my center, my intuition. When I'm doing a morning meditation, it's usually helping to get my mindset in the capacity I want it to start the day. And when I'm doing it at night, it's usually because, I'm really kind of trying to send this message to my brain of like, hey, I want my dreams to be all of these visions I have for myself. So meditation for me is critical. I'm not super consistent. I don't do it a particular time, particular day, but I do it a few times a week. And I always do it mainly because in some way I need to come back and check in with myself.
Why do you love a Peloton community?
Why do I love it? That is one of the most unique communities I have ever seen. It's not even necessarily the kind of communities that I work on, right? Peloton has developed a way to make you feel like you're doing a workout with hundreds of other people in your living room, but you're not. And they don't even have to see you. But just that feeling of knowing and being able to support each other with the high fives you can give during the workout, they have really created an ambiance that transports into your living room or wherever you keep your bike, wherever you're doing your ride, and you feel like part of something instantly. But the nice thing is too, if you don't want to feel like part of something, if you just want to do it on your own, there's a way to do that as well. And that is so important for anyone who is on any kind of fitness journey right now, that you have those options to be able to work out with others, learn from others, be inspired by others in a workout. And then sometimes you need to just have the workout where you just need to be with yourself in that time. So I love that they have given those kind of options. I love the ambiance they provide with the amazing teachers, the kick-ass music. Oh, are we allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah,
Sorry.
sure.
Oh, okay, cool. And the ways you can interact and support people. And so I'm really in awe of that aspect of community, how they've done that. I can't think of any other fitness community like that operating in that capacity. Not to say that there isn't, I just don't know of one.
Yeah. And do you feel like you want to scream into the void sometimes?
Yes. There's also times, you mean just during Peloton or in general?
Well, in general, during Peloton for sure, I'm just kidding.
Yes, for sure. During Peloton, I'll usually there are times I want to sing a song at the top of my lungs, and I have to just hope that my partner and my stepdaughter are not at home. Or even if they are, sometimes I do it anyways. And then they're like, "What's wrong?" But yeah, there are times I feel like I want to scream. That usually is an indication to me I need to do a meditation. I need to do something to bring me back to myself, and or something to let off some steam.
What can make you feel like that?
Just overwhelm, and running your own business, there can definitely be overwhelm at times. I do feel like I'm still trying to master time management. I don't even know if there is such a thing as mastering it, though, when you're an entrepreneur.
No.
It's just a process of constantly changing your routine to see what works best for you. And so there's definitely been times when I would change it. I'm like, oh, that definitely doesn't work. And I felt overwhelmed. Sometimes when things don't go as I planned, that gives me cause to want to scream. But gotten more uncomfortable with uncertainty over the years. So I feel like I have a better approach for handling those unplanned moments.
How did you learn to handle unplanned moments?
I went through this whole phase a couple of years ago after I went on a personal development retreat in Bali, and I had a realization about myself. I was terrified of uncertainty, and I was trying to control the uncertainty in my life, which just led to more drama and more stress, more overwhelm. And so I left that retreat thinking, what if I embraced uncertainty? What does that look like? And so typical me, I went out and bought about 6 different books on the topic of uncertainty because I was going to teach myself how to handle uncertainty. I was like, for sure. And I did. I read all of the books. I even created like a mini e-course on uncertainty to then convey to people what I had learned from these books. I created like a little curriculum out of it. And I mean, the biggest thing that I got out of all of that is that moments of uncertainty, or when things happen that are unplanned, is to come back to myself, do some deep breath work. So sometimes meditation helps with that, or just in the moment, just do some deep breath work, come back to the present, come back to me, remind myself of what's important, and remind myself that I'm safe, I'm present, I'm alive. And you know what? Uncertainty happens. That is a given. And if we need to change course from here, I just need to do what I need to do to process whatever might have just happened that was unplanned. And then be on my way. And sometimes that means many meditations and a lot of breath work, but that usually is the best thing for me to come back to a place of clarity to figure out where I need to go from there.
Have you seen a movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey?
Yeah. Yes, man, I have.
Have you tried to say yes for everything?
No,
Why?
no, no. I mean, gotta have some boundaries.
Yeah, totally. I've heard about baby showers, but never heard about a boss baby or business shower. So tell me more about it.
Yes, the business shower. My dear friend Carolyn Ma offered to throw me a business shower when I shared with her that I was going to be starting my own business. So this was held back in June of 2021 when I launched my business, and I've never ever had an event like it. Some of my closest friends came together for a brunch here in on the west side of LA in Santa Monica, and during the course of that brunch, we went around the table and heard stories from other women who are entrepreneurs. I wanted to hear about challenges they've had and then what they do to overcome those challenges. And then there were other women at the table who, not necessarily entrepreneurs, but I mean, they've faced challenges. So I asked them to, come and try, if you can, be vulnerable with me here, and how have you overcome these challenges? Because I knew entering into this life of entrepreneurship, there were going to be challenges, and I wanted to get inspired by how my friends have handled getting through those challenges. So that was the business shower. I had a shower registry, just like someone might have for a bridal shower or baby shower, and on that, friends contributed money towards my technology fund and subscriptions I need toward professional development stuff. So that was nice, little bits of gifts that came there, and it was really sweet. And at the end of the business shower, I had a gift for everybody who came. I had, I think there were 12 women who showed up, and I had bought 12 of my favorite business books, 12 of the books that have inspired me throughout the course of my life, and 12 different ones. And I wrapped those, and every woman got a different book. And so I felt like, they were coming there for me to support me as I launched this new endeavor, but I wanted to leave them with something that has benefited me as well in my career. And so everybody left with a fun, I think, fun book.
Was it random or you decided who to give what book?
It was random. Yeah, absolutely random. And I have faith that it all worked out, that the right book ended up in the right hands.
Yeah, sometimes, it just go with the flow. So I believe definitely there was the right book in the right hands.
Yes.
So tell me, please, what was the first podcast you attended as a speaker?
As a speaker, it might have been Pablo's podcast. I don't recall exactly. I know his was one of the first. And I actually look back on that recording now, and I critique myself big time, because I've learned a lot about what it means to be a good podcast guest. I've learned a lot about what it means to be a good public speaker and how I can continue improving on that. And yeah, so I think it was Pablo Gonzalez podcast, the B2B Community Builder Show.
Yeah, Pablo is amazing. I heard first about him on David Spink's podcast, and I was like, hey, Pablo, please add me to your network. And he never added. But then once I just made a comment with some rap song in his LinkedIn post, and he was like, oh, writing rap lyrics in my comments makes me your friend. So it was really fun how we met. And yeah, he's totally amazing. And what did you find you could do better after re-listening that podcast?
I look back at that, since it was either the first or one of the first that I did, and I can see that there were moments where I'm talking about something where I'm almost doubting my own words. And I don't know if anyone else would have seen that, but I can. And I do feel like now I try to come to the table ready to speak with more confidence, because I am more sure of myself and more confident in my work now that I've been doing this a little over a year. And I can see that girl who was nervous to be out on her own and all of a sudden saying, I'm doing my own thing, and still fighting imposter syndrome at the moment. And there's always going to be probably some level of that I'm challenged with, but now I just know that I'm going to step into these and I'm just going to be me. And I'm just going to talk about why I love community so much. And if people don't like it, too bad. Not everyone has to like it. And they still can't take away from me the fact that I live and breathe and love community. It's just, it is an extension of me. It is such a big part of me. And so I think I've gotten more comfortable with myself and trying to portray who Jenny Weigle really is and not just Jenny the consultant. Gosh, I even remember I was wearing like a black blazer and stuff, and I looked very corporate on it. And I'm like, well, I never wear a black blazer, like, and I don't really dress like that anymore. So what was I doing? But you know, you learn.
Yeah, you prepared, so that's exactly how it works.
Yes.
Yeah. I had a good question, but I was listening to you so closely that it went out of my mind. So let's just go to your morning walking adventure you had using the Secret Stairs guide. So tell me more about it.
All right. There is a book that came out, I think about 12 years ago now, called Secret Stairs LA. And I had heard about this book, and I forget the name of the author, but this gentleman documented all the public staircases in Los Angeles and made these guided walks out of them. So when COVID started and everything locked down in Los Angeles, there was a time when the beaches were closed, the parks were closed. I mean, literally, they put fences around the parks so you couldn't go there. And if you tried to go hiking, there were just too many people on the hiking trails. It didn't feel safe. It was too crowded. It wasn't enjoyable. So I bought this book after all these years of hearing about it. I'm like, I'm going to buy this Secret Stairs LA book. And that became an outlet for me during COVID. And I would grab a friend and we would pick a walk in some part of Los Angeles and we would go and do it and read through. And it's amazing that even though the book is about 12 years old, that so much of the details and the paths and the tidbits of history are still accurate in it. And it's exposed me to so many different areas of LA neighborhoods, given me a great appreciation for these unique pockets in LA. And they've been great workouts. I mean, these are no joke. There's lots of stairs involved. And at the end of every walk, I ask whoever walked it with me, friend of mine or so, to sign their name on the page that we, the walk that we did together. And that book is now becoming this beautiful record of these walks I've done in LA. There's about 40 walks in the book, maybe 42. I think I've only done 10. There's many more to go. So if anyone listening to this wants to come to LA and do a Secret Stairs walk with me, you are absolutely invited and welcome to. I have many more to get through.
So at least 32 spots.
Yeah,
okay.
I should count really and see.
And do you remember like any story from that book connected to some stairs?
There's a beautiful walk with great views of the ocean, actually, that borders Malibu and Pacific Palisades. That's the suburb that I live in. And along that walk, you come across this just gorgeous home that's, I think, built in the 1920s. It's built into a hillside. It's got a name, Casa. It's a very official, and it's just stunning. You can't help but stop and look at this home in awe. And according to the book, it was the home of a famous silent film star who was, and I don't remember the name, but at the time she was just like, the talk of the town. She was Hollywood, the epitome of Hollywood at that time. And there's a sad and devastating story behind her, and that she was found passed away in her car, and there might be, some sort of murder mystery behind it. Anyway, so I look up at that house and I just think, what stories happened in there? What kind of life did she lead? And what happened to her? And I don't know, I just get in this very reflective zone, because even at that time, Malibu would have been like way, way out in the country, and hard to get out to, and not considered one of the main parts of Los Angeles. And so that's not really, any particular story, but it's an example of just the state of wonder that I find myself in sometimes on these walks, when you come across a beautiful piece of history, and I want to know, like, what has happened here, what kind of energy has been here, what kind of people, what was created here, what was made here, what was decided here. That's the kinds of things I'm thinking as I go on those walks.
And when you are thinking about some mysteries and something like that, what do you prefer, to fantasize about it or to dig and find some facts to build the story?
I prefer to learn. I've stopped in the middle of a walk and done a quick Google search on someone's name to learn about them. And I think that is just part of my curiosity of always wanting to know what has happened in the city I reside in. When I lived in Tampa, I was like this. When I lived in Chicago, I was like this. I have always been fascinated by the history of the cities that I live in, because that's an energy I'm taking in about what has happened in that city and what is still happening and what made that city what it is today. So I'm completely obsessed. I would do many more walks or information sessions about LA history. I've just finished reading a book about Los Angeles wine history, which back in the mid 1800s was the wine mecca of the state of California. Before Napa and Sonoma really ever got started, Los Angeles had a thriving wine industry that kicked off, wines for the West Coast of the US. Yeah, I love things like that. If anyone ever wants to buy me a present, just buy me something about LA history and let me take it in and read all about it. And in a past life, I have been a tour guide in the city, so it contributes to that as well.
And where is your curiosity from?
That's a good question. I don't know. I just know I have a lot of it. That's why I've always loved Alice in Wonderland. Curiouser and curiouser. That's my little phrases. I'm not sure, but I'm really glad I have it, because it represents a part of me that is always willing to learn and just wanting to know. And there's just something that's important to me to understand the space that I am spending a lot of my time in. I've been in Los Angeles about 8 years now, and it's still important for me to learn and understand what this city is about, because I've decided to make this my home. And yeah, and so I don't, but why is that important to me? I actually don't really know, but it always has, and it's just an integral part of me.
Is it any crazy story where your curiosity brought you?
Yeah, maybe just coming to LA in general. So I moved out here for a relationship that didn't work out, but I will always be grateful for that relationship. It was the catalyst to get me out here. And I had no friends or family out here when arriving. And yet I felt this connection to this city. And it might have been the fact that you got beach and mountains super close together, two of my favorite things. And I had never realized how much natural beauty there was in Los Angeles. But then I learned not long after moving here that my maternal grandmother had spent some time here in Los Angeles. And I get emotional like talking about it, because when I learned this, I was like, that's it. Like, it's almost like I could still feel her presence here.
Wow.
And it was really cool. I learned that she had lived here in her young adult life, with her sisters over in Hollywood. She moved out and got a secretary job at the telephone company. And I even knew the intersection where they lived, that the building they lived in is no longer there. But, to know that like she had a life out here, I don't know, some weird connection that like I thought I had no connections to Los Angeles whatsoever. And I was just, moving out here for a relationship, when it turns out like someone so important in my past, did have time in Los Angeles and did come to this city. And it was pivotal, because her moving out here meant at the time, I guess she was on and off with my grandfather. They were not married yet. But when she moved out here, he realized how much he missed her, and and said, hey, if you come back, was it in Florida? Yeah, to Florida, we'll get married. And, so if she had never moved out to LA and he had never realized that, he really longed to be with her as that much, that part of my family might not have ever evolved. I might not be here today if my grandmother hadn't come to Los Angeles.
Yeah,
right? Great.
And it feels like you have a very deep connection with your grandmother.
I do. I was able to grow up with all four of my grandparents, and I feel very lucky in that regard. And yeah, she was a saint. She was, world's best grandmother. Well, both my grandmothers tied for world's best grandmother. Yeah, and maybe that curiosity is now like, I wonder what else she did here. I wonder about her life here. I wish I could take a time machine and go back and watch her, in her early 20s, living life in Los Angeles with her sisters. That would be just so cool. So cool. And it's just neat to know now that we both shared that we've lived in Los Angeles.
It's a very great story. And but just another random question. Once you messaged, I miss the pink hair. So how did you decide to have pink hair?
I've always wanted pink hair. I just always thought it'd be fun, and it was super fun, and I wish I could do it again, but I destroyed my hair doing it. Absolutely destroyed. Hence so I had to grow out my natural color, and this took a long time, so I'm not going to touch this now. So there was a very stressful time in my life many years ago when I was working full-time for Salesforce and also getting my MBA, and it was complete burnout, doing those things at the same time. So no coincidence that at the end of my MBA, I quit Salesforce. I did not really have a plan. I thought I wanted to go and freelance, and I did do that for a little while, but ultimately I was just burned out. And also in doing that, I gave myself a bit of a sabbatical, a couple months off, and just wanted to figure out, where do I go from here? And in doing that, I thought, well, I'm not working for anyone but myself. I'm going to do what I've always wanted to do and dye my hair bright pink. Well, I had times of bright pink. I had times of like pastel pink. I went between pinks, and it was super fun. And it was just, I don't know, it was just a way to express myself I'd never done before. And I missed those days. And during COVID, I tried to do some temporary stuff in my hair again, and it didn't take. So I really think my days of pink hair are over. They were fun while they lasted.
Did everyone notice you that time?
I mean, people would definitely say, "Ah, pink hair." Yeah, and I even remember when I went to go interview at Lithium Technologies, I had my ends were pink, though not the whole hair, but just I had some pink hair going on, and I was like, "Is this going to affect my interview?" And luckily, it didn't. I got hired there, and I thought, "Wait, I can have pink hair and work corporate jobs? Why am I just not realizing this?" But again, like I said, I fried my hair. It was not very healthy, and I took the steps to make it healthy again, which means I will probably not ever have pink hair again unless it's a wig.
Yeah, totally. You can have any color with a wig. So
yeah.
And recently you wrote, celebrating 3 years with my partner in life, love, and silliness. Okay, with life and love all clear, but tell me about silliness.
I mean, he is my partner in every capacity. We can be completely silly with each other, and we do, even when his daughter is here and when she's not. And he sees me for me, genuinely who I am. I've never had to put on a facade with him, and that's such a special thing. And I just love him on so many levels, and probably some of the most though when we're being really goofy and silly with one another.
Eminem has this song when his daughter sings like, "Oh, I think my dad's gone crazy." And have ever your stepdaughter told you that you are both crazy?
No, because she would say that she is crazier than both of us. Like she wants to wear the crown for silliest person in this household. And if it ever seemed like myself or John were crazier or sillier, she would try to one-up us.
Yeah, that's fine. But tell me, how did you meet John?
Oh, the good old online dating fashion way. Good old fashioned way. On Bumble, the dating app Bumble. So, ladies and gentlemen, it can work.
Tell me more about it.
About the experience of meeting him on there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I was trying something new at the time because Bumble is the app where once you have both indicated you're interested, you match, and the woman has 24 hours to start the conversation. Well, I was not having much luck because I would start conversations with people and no one would respond, and then the match would go away. So I was taking the advice of a friend at the time who said, make a quick video of yourself. Don't just send like a text message to start off the conversation. Make a quick video, say their name, make it specific to that individual. And, maybe that's a little bit more personal touch. So I remember it being a Saturday and he and I matched. And on that Saturday, I was getting ready to go to a friend's birthday party. So I was in makeup and I had a cute outfit on. And I remember walking out the door and thinking, wait, I look kind of cute right now. Maybe I should just do that video thing before I leave. So I did. I put my phone up and I filmed my, quick little video saying, hi, John, it's nice getting to meet you. And anyways, the little spiel. I wish I had saved that. I did not save it. And sure enough, that worked. And we ended up talking and going on a first date not long after that. And, the rest is history.
Yeah. And was it the first video you made?
Oh, no, I had been trying that attempt with a couple of different matches on Bumble. But
So
that one worked.
So you already had experience that time?
Yeah. I'd gotten the steps down.
Got it. So tell me, please, how do you feel when adding an exclamation point to a text message?
I'm all for it. I'm probably one of those people who does it too much. You might be able to tell from my tweets. I feel like I have a lot of exclamation points in my tweets.
I was trying to find, but it was really not a lot. Like, I also use some of them. So it was
yeah, the more exclamation points, the better. Why
not? Once you tweeted that there are some days you don't want to talk or think or hear about community at all. So how do you usually spend those days?
I usually spend those days pushing through whatever is getting to me. And also, when I recognize those moments, I also try to bring up my calendar and be like, okay, Jenny, when can you schedule some me time in? Because you're feeling like this for a reason, probably because you're not getting enough me time. And I'm not in tune with my intuition right now. So yeah, so I usually pull up my calendar and just try to block some time. Ideally for like that day, later that day, or maybe the next morning right away, where I'm going to go on a walk by myself, or I'm going to do like a long meditation, or I'm going to do something that grounds me and really brings me back to myself to try to figure out why am I not enjoying this moment? What is it about this? I usually love community in every aspect of it. So that is a rare thing. And it's really something where I, want to play detective with myself. Why am I feeling like this now? Because I love community. But those days happen.
Well, sometimes you just have to be alone, So.
Yeah.
What is the best swag you ever received?
The best swag I ever received. Oh my God, that's a good question. I'm like looking around right now, seeing what there might be. I feel like I've seen this question also on like the CMX too, and I'm always interested. All right, I can't see anything that I'm spotting like around me, but something I have in another bag it's like a portable cell phone charger, and it's one where I don't know the brand name or anything, but it's one where other people can kind of also hook up to it. So it can hold multiple devices. Mm-hmm. And pre-COVID days, when I would actually, travel a lot, go to conferences and I'd be in airports a lot, I would have that out. And if I saw someone looking for, a plugin, I'd be like, hey, I got a spot right here. So it would open up an instant opportunity to connect with people, which, I mean, you and Pablo, like, kings of connection. I think y'all would appreciate that. So,
have you shared it with Pablo? Because he would love it.
I have not, but I wouldn't be surprised if Pablo already has something like that.
I've never heard it. He always talks about talking in queues, but he never mentioned this trick. So I guess
maybe this is one I could impart on him.
You should tell him about it.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, buy a portable charging device that charges multiple devices and share the battery life with others.
Yeah. How do you usually celebrate your birthdays?
Oh, I mean, I'm one of those people who I do like to do something. So something is going to happen. The last couple years, my partner John has made them extra special with some trips and so forth. I really adore hearing from friends and family that day, and I really treasure those moments. And ever since meeting John, the one thing I ask for on my birthday is for him to make me his burger. He makes the best burger I've ever had in my life. And he makes it a couple times a year, so it's not just on my birthday, but he also makes sure to make it on my birthday.
Wow. Are you making it at home or you go somewhere?
Oh, he makes it at home. He is an amateur chef. He could certainly be a professional chef, but that's not the path he wants to go down. He enjoys cooking for friends and family and not, in a professional capacity. But yeah, he has perfected his recipe over the years for this burger. I've never been someone to go out to a restaurant and prefer to order burgers because I've just never been that impressed by one. If this one was on the menu somewhere, I would be ordering it all the time. He usually makes homemade buns, and the meat itself is like a combination of or some kind of short rib. I don't know. And he gets a special sauce on it, pickles, caramelized onions. It is divine. It is everything. Gosh, now I'm going to tell him to make it tonight because I'm hungry. So yeah, I usually want to do something obviously with friends or family on that day. But now my new birthday tradition is also having John's burger.
Got it. A quick question, mountains or beach?
Beach.
Got it. What do you think about unrealized potential?
It represents opportunity. If it's unrealized potential, then that means there is potential.
Unrealized.
And congratulations when you do realize it, can open up a whole new world for you.
And how to realize potential when you notice unrealized potential? How to do the first step? So what are your maybe tips or tricks?
For me, it's to get very present with myself and be able to hold space for myself. And I really try in my friendships and relationships to hold space for others. But there are times I think when you've got to hold space for yourself and give yourself the space that you need to breathe, relax, think, be curious, realize your potential, and allow yourself to do things maybe that you haven't before, but that you've always wanted to. When I allowed myself to take singing lessons, finally, I realized a whole nother level of potential I never thought I had. But for so many years, I gave myself the excuse of not wanting to take lessons, even though it was in my head, because I thought, well, what am I going to do with that? I'm at this age, I'm not going to go on Broadway. I'm not going to join a band. So why do that? But I finally allowed myself and tapped into that unrealized potential.
What is the next thing you will allow yourself?
There's a new facet of my business I want to create, which I can't get into details here, but you are the first hearing even this much. And I've known that I wanted to create this for a while, and I've just been not making it a priority, so haven't moved forward much yet. But it would be something very different, but something very exciting. And the more I think on it, the more ideas are coming to my head about it. And I think it's probably just fear stopping me, because it represents something different than what I've kind of already putting out. So there's a little bit of like, oh, what will people think? And yet there's so many signs pointing to me to do this, that I just need to make it a priority. I need to dedicate time towards executing on this and see what happens from there.
Do you know how to deal with what people think?
I don't have the answer to it, but I've gotten a lot better at not minding or not caring about it and not dwelling on that as much over the years. But I'd be lying if I said that I don't have moments where I do wonder what people think.
Yeah.
I've just gotten a little bit better at pushing those moments aside to ultimately say, nah, I'm going to do this anyways. Or I'm going to wear this. I'm going to say this, whatever. I think that comes with age. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. There could be, people of very young age who are just doing,
Crazy stuff,
whatever
for sure.
they want, as long as it's not hurting anyone else, and you go be you. So.
Yeah, sometimes young people do it even if it hurts someone, so it depends.
Yeah. I'm really inspired by my stepdaughter because at 5 years old right now, that hasn't been programmed into her to care what people think. So she's really just so genuinely herself in every way. And I see that and I'm inspired by it and I take note of it. I'm like, why can't I be more like that? So I try.
Yeah, sometimes kids are great teachers.
Yes.
I really wish to have the sky as the limit to our conversation, but time is the limit. So let's jump to the rapid fire questions.
Okay.
I stole it from David Spinks, but anyway. Text or voice conversation?
Voice.
Podcast or in-person meeting?
In person.
What are your favorite color and song?
Color and song? Blue. And probably Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Totally. If you were a superhero, what superpower would you have?
Teleportation.
Who do you learn from in the community world? Name one person.
That I haven't already named? Because, Pablo comes to mind, my good friend.
It works,
All right.
It's cheating, but it works. What is your favorite community book?
It's not specifically a community book, but I consider it in the community realm. The Art of Gathering by Priya Parker.
Got it. Name two people who you refer to have a community live conversation. So basically, who do I have to reach out?
Have you ever talked to Todd Nilsson?
Not yet.
Todd has a wealth of experience in this field, and he was one of my very first mentors. And he really does take the time to help people stepping into not just the community profession, but the community consulting profession. So I think that he would be such a delight to speak to. So Todd Nilsson of Clock Tower Advisors. And then another person, oh my gosh, trying to single in on one person. I'm going to go with Esprit Devora, who is the founder of We Are LA Tech. She's also a podcast host of the show We Are LA Tech and Women in Tech. And she's just one of the ultimate community builders of Los Angeles. She's born and bred in LA, and the way she nurtures that tech community and brings people together for truly unique experiences, it's just incredible. And then her podcasting skills are on another level. So she could talk to you about a number of things: Los Angeles, tech, podcasting. Be a good time.
And she can talk even without me talking, I guess.
Probably.
Is there one question that I definitely should have asked you but didn't?
One question. Yeah. What's my favorite kind of wine? I thought you were going to go with some wine questions, man.
I had this question, but yeah, so what is it?
Champagne. And champagne is a form of wine. Some people might be like, what? It is one of many kinds of wonderful wine. But love me a nice glass of champagne.
What kind of champagne?
My very favorite is a brand called Belle Carte Samon. They're Brut Rosé. And it's the first bottle of wine that John and I shared together on our first date.
Is it your favorite because of that?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, it's got sentimental value, but it just tastes so damn good too.
Oh, see, okay, I have to taste it too. Thank you very much for sharing. Frankly speaking, I have so many questions to ask you, but as I told, we have time as the limit. So, Jenny, thank you very much for your time, for being so, I don't know, so real, so you. It's super awesome to get to know you from this side, because I read a lot of your articles. I see you a lot in the community world, but to get to know who you are, like, deeper, like all the stuff that you told me. So yeah, thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Yuri. And I really hope one of these episodes you allow someone to turn the tables, and I'd be happy to do it. I'll raise my hand, but if you want to invite someone else, because there's a level to you that I would like to know, and I'm sure our listeners and people watching would like to know as well, because you are such a great connector and you're doing so much for our field that there's more to Yuri that I want to know. So maybe one day.
Yeah, I already have two person who want to do it, and we even scheduled with one person. So maybe soon we will
I
have
will
more.
look out for that episode.
Thank you very much. And yeah, so as always, meet you everywhere in the community world, and have an amazing day, and see you soon.
Take care.
Bye.